Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring something, well, truly remarkable.
We are indeed.
We're looking into the final chapter of the book of Acts, chapter 28. This is based on material you shared with us, listener.
And it really details quite a journey, doesn't it? Full of unexpected twists.
Absolutely. We'll be digging into themes of faith, certainly perseverance, and, interestingly, unexpected kindness, even in really tough spots.
Yeah, it gives a fascinating look at how these ancient texts might still, speak to us today.
Okay, so let's set the scene. They've survived this terrible shipwreck.
Right.
And they wash ashore on an island. Originally Miletus or Melita, now we know it as Malta.
That's the place, and it wasn't just a few survivors. The sources mentioned 276 people.
Wow, that's a huge number to suddenly land on your shores.
It really is. And what's immediately striking is the reaction of the locals.
Yeah, described as pagan natives, people who hadn't heard about Jesus Christ.
Exactly. But instead of hostility, they show, incredible kindness. They build a fire, welcome them in the cold and rain.
It's quite something. It really makes you pause and think.
Definitely challenges assumptions. You might expect fear or suspicion, but here it's just help.
Okay, so they've found some safety, a fire.
Yeah.
And then things take another turn. The snake incident.
Ah, yes. Shaul, or Paul, is gathering firewood, pitching in.
Which is interesting in itself, right? This leader doing the manual work.
It is. He's not expecting to be served. And as he's doing this, a viper, driven out by the heat of the fire,
Bites him, latches onto his hand.
Yes. And the islanders see this and immediately draw conclusions.
They figured, okay, he escaped the sea, but justice found him. He must be a murderer.
It's that immediate cause and effect thinking, that sense of divine retribution.
Our sources kind of push back on that simple view, though, don't they? Suggesting God's grace operates differently for believers.
Precisely. It's not always about instant punishment for wrongdoing. There's a bigger picture.
And then Shaul just shakes the snake off into the fire.
And feels no harm. Nothing happens.
Which must have stunned them.
Completely. Because their reaction flips entirely.
Right. Suddenly he's not a murderer anymore.
No, now they think he must be a god.
It really shows how fickle public opinion can be, based purely on external events. 1 minute a villain, the next a deity.
It's fascinating. And the material offers this idea that God's people are essentially protected until their purpose is fulfilled.
Like the two witnesses in Revelation, that parallel is drawn.
Exactly. Shaul had a mission. He was heading to Rome. So in this view, he wasn't due to die yet.
Makes you think about purpose and timing. Okay, so following this drama, they encounter Publius.
Yes, the chief official on the island, a Roman governor.
And again, this theme of unexpected kindness. He hosts them for 3 days.
Which is unusual, right? A Roman official hosting a prisoner, shipwrecked or not.
Very unusual. Maybe the snake incident impressed him. Or just basic human decency after the wreck.
Perhaps. And during this stay, something else happens. Publius' father is ill.
Seriously ill, it sounds like. Fever and dysentery.
Yes. And Shaul goes to him. But notice what he does first.
He prays.
He prays. Then he lays hands on him, and the man is healed.
The emphasis seems to be on the reliance on God, not on Shaul himself as some kind of miracle worker.
Absolutely. Our sources contrast this with maybe some modern approaches where the healer gets the spotlight. Here, it's clearly attributed to God's power, accessed through prayer.
And this healing has a ripple effect, doesn't it?
It does. Others on the island who are sick start coming to Shaul.
And they too are healed.
Yes, and again, Shaul seems to have made it very clear where the healing came from. Not him, but God.
And this period, these healings, are seen as really significant for Malta's history.
Hugely significant. It's often pointed to as a key moment in the island eventually becoming Christian.
Incredible impact. So they spend 3 months there.
Right. A significant pause in their journey.
And when they finally leave, the islanders don't just wave them off. They honor them.
They do. They provide them with supplies, everything they need for the next part of the journey.
This is another instance of God providing through, unexpected people.
It really is. And then there's the ship they sail on.
Ah, yes. Their name is quite something.
Twin gods, referring to Castor and Pollux from mythology.
The irony. After witnessing what they just saw with Shaul and the snake and the healings.
Exactly. Sailing off on a ship named for pagan gods. It's quite a detail.
So their journey continues. They sail to Syracuse.
Then Rhegium, another place where those twin gods were apparently worshipped.
Interesting coincidence, or perhaps not.
And then finally to Puteoli.
Which was a major port, right?
Yeah.
For grain ships coming into Italy.
That's right. And there they find fellow Christians.
Ah, that must have been wonderful for them.
You'd think so. And they stay there for a whole week, a bit of respite and fellowship.
After all that time, the shipwreck, Malta,
Yeah,
definitely needed.
no doubt. Then they start the final leg, overland towards Rome.
And word gets ahead of them.
It does. Believers in Rome hear Shaul is coming, and they travel out to meet him.
Quite a distance, too, right? As far as the Appian Market and the Three Inns.
Significant distances. Just imagine Shaul seeing them coming.
What an encouragement that must have been.
The sources really emphasize that. It gave him comfort, courage, seeing that community support.
It's a powerful picture. Something maybe we can relate to in our own lives when we feel supported in our own missions, whatever they are.
Absolutely. The power of community showing up.
So finally, Rome, the destination. But he's still a prisoner.
He is. But again, things are a bit unusual. He's allowed to live by himself, with a soldier guarding him, but not in a common prison.
Which gives him a degree of freedom.
Enough freedom to continue his work, yes. And one of the first things he does just 3 days after arriving.
He calls together the local Jewish leaders.
Yes, a very proactive approach. Our sources highlight this as a pattern, trying to address issues directly, seek understanding.
He explains why he's there, right? His arrest in Jerusalem, his appeal to the emperor.
Correct. And he stresses he isn't accusing his own people, but that he's bound because of the hope of Israel.
Which the material clarifies means the Messiah, the gospel message.
Exactly, the fulfillment of the promises.
And the leaders' reaction is interesting, too.
It is. They say they haven't received any letters from Judea about him, no negative reports.
So they're basically saying, we haven't heard anything bad, but we know this sect is spoken against everywhere.
Right. And they express curiosity. They want to hear his views directly.
It points to maybe a lost art, being willing to listen respectfully, even when you've heard negative things or have preconceived notions.
A very valuable point. So they set a day, and a large number of people come to his lodging.
A large number.
Yes. And again, the text emphasizes it wasn't Shaul's charisma drawing them.
It was the word itself.
It was the message. The focus is on the power of the gospel, not the personality delivering it. A caution against any kind of rock star mentality in ministry.
Good point. And he speaks to them all day.
From morning till evening, expounding on the kingdom of God.
And how does he do it? He uses their own scriptures.
Yes, the Torah of Moses and the prophets.
Mm.
Trying to persuade them about Yeshua, about Jesus.
Just like Jesus did on the road to Emmaus, connecting the dots from scriptures they already knew and revered.
Precisely. Meeting people where they are in their understanding.
But the result is,
Mhm.
well, predictable, perhaps?
It's divided. Some are convinced, they believe.
Others don't.
Others remain unconvinced, which, our sources remind us, is often the case. The task is to share the word faithfully.
And trust God with the results, with opening hearts.
Exactly. And Shaul then delivers a pretty strong statement, quoting Isaiah.
About hardened hearts. People seeing but not perceiving, hearing but not understanding.
Yes, that famous passage about the inability or unwillingness to turn and be healed. It's a somber note, linking their disbelief to that prophetic warning.
And he draws a consequence from this rejection.
He does. He states that God's salvation is now being sent to the Gentiles.
And that they will listen.
Right. Which understandably caused quite a stir and debate among the Jewish leaders.
A controversial conclusion to that meeting.
Very. But the book ends on a remarkable note.
Shaul stays there for 2 whole years.
In his own rented house. And what does he do?
He welcomes everyone who comes to him.
And proclaims the kingdom of God, teaching about the Lord Yeshua the Messiah.
And the final words.
With all boldness and without hindrance.
Wow. After shipwrecks, snakes, accusations, imprisonment, he ends up preaching freely in the heart of the Roman Empire.
It's an incredible testament to God's faithfulness and his ability to work out his purpose, even through, or perhaps because of, all those trials.
So, wrapping up this deep dive into Acts 28, the takeaways are pretty powerful, aren't they?
Definitely. You see God's consistent deliverance, that faithfulness.
You see that unexpected kindness popping up where you least expect it.
Mm-hmm. The sheer power of witness, even in adversity.
And also that reality of the mixed response to the message. Not everyone accepts it.
That's right. Acceptance isn't guaranteed, but the call is to share anyway.
Which leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? For you, listening.
Indeed. Maybe reflect on times you received help from a surprising source. Or, looking forward, how might your own sense of purpose, your own mission unfold? It likely won't be a straight line.
Yeah, expect the unexpected, perhaps. Both the challenges and the support, something to definitely mull over.
A good thought to end on.